Page 1. PBT's analysis of letter from AWCC. Please note in the orange box the names of Chairman, Commissioners, Chief Executive Officer, and Chief Administrative Law Judge. My friends and all employees in Arkansas and Louisiana, I urge you to call the toll-free number 1-800-622-4472 and ask the above people at AWCC if Tyson wrote the current laws. Maybe your employer was on AWCC and wrote laws to keep you from receiving workers' comp. An example, Walmart, ? Wrong address, 326 Douglas, not 323 Douglas. This may be why this letter took a week to arrive from Fort Smith to Berryville. Note the first line. I have received your for a hearing in regard to the above styled case. Your what? Something is missing here. End of page 1. Page 2. Self-explanatory except for asterisks. End of page 2. Page 3. Asterisks. Where are numbers 1 through 11 of this questionnaire ? We checked. They must have forgotten to put it in the letter. End of page 3. Page 4. As of this date, February 28, 2011, Mr. Daniel J. Kidd has not received and/or has been denied any of his requested medical records, despite numerous requests from the following. Number 1, Tyson Foods, Incorporated. Number 2, Tynet. Number 3, Ozark Guidance. Number 4, UNUM Insurance. Number 5, Social Security Administration. Number 6, Eureka Walk-In Clinic. Number 7, St. John's Hospital in Berryville. Number 8, Arkansas Open Air MRI. Mr. Kidd has only received medical records from his primary care physician, the only professional to have repeatedly examined and determined that Mr. Kidd suffers from carbon monoxide poisoning from working on line 10 of the Berryville Tyson plant. I hereby waive my physician and psychotherapist patient privilege. Never, ever waive any of your rights. Waive my physician and psychotherapist patient privilege ? How many more American citizen rights will Tyson take away from Mr. Daniel J. Kidd ? No thanks. Tyson already broke this privilege when Tyson Berryville Complex Manager Mike Armstrong met with Mr. Kidd's personal physician in a meeting that was kept secret from Mr. Kidd by Tyson personnel. Mr. Kidd found out from his doctor a week before and wrote Mr. Kidd an excuse to leave the line and attend the meeting because the doctor, quote, will not talk about my medical history without Mr. Kidd present, end of quote. Mr. Kidd gave his supervisor, Danny Tumbleson, the excuse, and Tumbleson said that Mr. Kidd was not allowed into the meeting. 40 minutes after the meeting had started between Tyson's Armstrong, Tyson's nurses, Tyson's plant manager Roger Nance, and Tyson's safety personnel, those who walked around and manipulated their carbon monoxide detectors to show low readings in a smoke-filled plant, Mr. Kidd's doctor finally refused to answer any more questions until Mr. Kidd was allowed into the meeting, June 23, 2010. Kidd was placed on medical leave by Armstrong and then asked Mr. Kidd's doctor if, quote, that's okay with you, ? End of quote. It wasn't okay with Mr. Kidd. Tyson Complex Manager Mike Armstrong then promised Kidd he would receive 3 months of short-term medical payments of $108 each week, and after the 3 months, Kidd would receive long-term disability, 60% of his pay, which Kidd had premiums deducted from every check for over 2 years, for the next 2 years, or until he came back to work, whichever came first. Armstrong then instructed the nurses at the meeting to help Mr. Kidd with his workers' comp paperwork. Mr. Kidd informed Armstrong that since these nurses have denied Mr. Kidd's workers' comp for nearly 18 months, Mr. Kidd's wife contacted the Arkansas Workers' Compensation Commission and had already filed the paperwork the week before, after Mr. Kidd's forced seizure from carbon monoxide poisoning at the Tyson plant. Complex Manager Armstrong lied. Mr. Kidd received 3 checks for $108 and 1 check for $62. Tyson never paid Kidd again until his vacation pay in early September. No long-term disability has ever been paid to Mr. Kidd. Mrs. Kidd, with the help of Mr. Kidd's doctor, helped Mr. Kidd to apply for Social Security disability. Mr. Kidd was awarded Social Security disability in a month, but the first check would not come to Mr. Kidd until January 26, 2011. From late July 2010 until late January 2011, the Kidd family lived on $1,058 a month. Mr. Kidd, disabled at 49 years old for the first time in his life, had to get food stamps and help from food banks. No workers' comp, no unemployment since Kidd is still an employee of Tyson, no 3 months of short-term disability, and only a promise of long-term disability by Tyson's third-party insurance carrier UNUM with a check date of October 18, 2010 that came and passed. UNUM finally denied Kidd's claim on January 28, 2011, 2 days after Social Security paid Kidd his first disability check. Kevin Mills with UNUM knew the exact date Kidd would receive Social Security. Much more on UNUM in later videos. End of page 4. Page 5. PBTs in the Kidd family response. Needs no explanation. End of page 5. Page 6. PBTs in the Kidd family response. Page 2. Needs no explanation. End of page 6. Page 7. The AWCC judge responds to PBT/Kidd's letter of February 2, 2011. Note the letterhead of the State of Arkansas Workers' Compensation Commission. February 8, 2011. Mr. Daniel J. Kidd, 323 Douglas, Berryville, Arkansas, 72616. Reference Daniel J. Kidd v. Tyson Poultry, WCC file G005354. Dear Mr. Kidd, it appears from your letter of February 2, 2011 that you no longer wish to pursue your claim before the Arkansas Workers' Compensation Commission at this time. Therefore, your case will be returned to the inactive files in Little Rock. No further action will be taken on this case by this commission unless and until requested by either party. Sincerely, signed Michael L. Elig, Administrative Law Judge. MLE/DG CC Miss E. Diane Graham, Attorney at Law, P.O. Box 185, Fort Smith, Arkansas, 72902-0185. End of page 7. Page 8. PBT's analysis of letter from AWCC Judge Michael Elig dated February 8, 2011. Wrong address again. Therefore, your case will be returned to the inactive files in Little Rock. Note the line, quote, therefore your case will be returned to the inactive files in Little Rock, end of quote. Mr. Daniel J. Kidd, as of this very date, is still an employee of Tyson Foods, Incorporated on forced medical leave. His workers' compensation papers were filed in mid-June of 2010 by his wife. Question. Why was Mr. Kidd's AWCC file ever in the quote-unquote inactive file? Question mark. After careful examination of past Tyson AWCC cases and the nearly 2-year denial by Tyson Berryville nurses/HR of Mr. Kidd to legally file workers' comp, plus the invasive actions of Tyson, Tynet, AWCC, and UNUM, it is the judgment of the PBT that Tyson et al. And the AWCC have never had any intention of granting Mr. Kidd a fair hearing under Arkansas laws, and not laws written by the current head of work comp at and employed by Tyson Foods Incorporated. Therefore, this matter will be brought to a U.S. federal prosecutor for investigation. Thus ends round 1 between the Kidd family/PBT and the Arkansas Workers' Compensation Commission. End of page 8.
be upfront with you, okay?
Okay.
The Arkansas Workers' Comp Law was written by the guy that now runs Tyson's workers' compensation programs. Okay, he was a sitting workers' comp commissioner when he wrote the law. Even if I proved that they treated you bad, even if I proved that they violated, safety regulations, that isn't going to make any difference in your workers' comp case. Our law only allows for a $10,000 civil penalty if you do prove a safety violation. That money is not paid to you, it is paid to the state of Arkansas. I can charge an attorney fee on it, but that's about all you get. You don't really get anything done, and I will tell you that rarely does a commission award safety violation penalties on anybody, and they're probably not going to do it on Tyson Foods.